I thought of this super cool video idea the other day and I'm so excited to sit down and film it for you. So I've been project panning for a hell of a long time, and that means I have a lot of eyeshadow pans that I have hit over the past few years. Some of them have been incredible and some of them have been not so incredible. Some of them I really have had to grit my teeth and bear it. So today I'm going to be going through the top 5 best and the top 5 worst eyeshadow pans I have ever hit. Now this actually wasn't as hard to compile as I thought it would be. Top 5 best was definitely easier than the top 5 worst, because you know what, sometimes I will just be like, you know what, I don't like this eyeshadow, I'm gonna give up. And I'm really trying not to hate pan as much as I did before. However, there are some serious hate panning culprits in this video. So today I'm going to start with top 5 best, then I'm going to go with top 5 worst. I'm going to show you the pans, I'm going to show you the close-ups, so those little project panner brains get fed. But just before we do jump into the video, if you have not already, definitely like and subscribe. I upload every single day here on my YouTube channel. I've done a get ready with me with this look. I don't think it's going to be live just yet. This is my full face of decluttering makeup part 2. You guys really loved part 1. That's already gone live. So I decided to do a part 2 for you guys today. So again, that'll go live in a few days. Turn on notifications because you don't want to miss it. Okay, I have my list. I have my list right here. And I'm going to jump into it. I'm going to go number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to go into worst. So at number 5, best eyeshadows that I've ever project panned, I have a shade from the Pastel Roses, which I mean, I love the Pastel Roses. It is my favorite brand ever. And this is the shade Sunlight. Now, this was my savior. This was my absolute saving grace. This was a shade that I rolled in to pan that palette at the start of 2024 when I was panning my Sofx Revolution palette. And this made me want to cry a lot less. So if you weren't here this time last year, let me give you a bit of a debrief. I had been panning the Sofx Revolution palette in 2022 or 2023. I'm not sure. I think it was 2022. And I'd made really good progress on that palette and I was so excited. But because the year ended, I put it away and started working on new shades. Now, 2024 rolled around and I thought, you know what? For Pan That Palette 2024, why don't I finish what is left of the Sofx Revolution palette? Because I've already got so many pans in there and it'll be really easy to finish, and then that's a palette out of my collection. However, I realised that I really didn't like the shades that were left in the Sofx Revolution palette. I kind of deducted that the reason why those shades were left is because I don't use them and I don't want to use them. So a few months into the year, I decided to roll in a few other singles into that palette to kind of make it a bit easier to pan. And I mean, I should have just chosen a new palette, but here we go. But this was one of the shades that was rolled in, and this was like my everyday dream. This is like a gold with a green reflect in it. I hope you can see it there. This saved my life for a good few months. I wore this with Cup of Tea, which is just a really basic browny orangey nudie matte, and I would wear this every single day. And as soon as I hit pan on this, I suddenly was just not interested in the palette anymore, because this was the only thing clinging this palette to my side. This was it. And it is stunning. I've used this so much. It's one of my favorites. If I want to do an everyday neutral quote unquote look, but I don't want it to be boring, this is beautiful for that. So this is number 5 best eyeshadows. I think one of the reasons why it made top 5 is because of the emotional aspect of it. Like, I did not want to pan Sofx Revolution anymore, and this was the only thing keeping me there. But as soon as this was hit pan on, it was bye-bye. Bye-bye. And I'm so thankful. Thank you very much. Mwah. So this is number 5. Let's move on to number 4, best eyeshadows I've ever project panned. We have a palette that I love. You guys know I love this palette so much. This is the shade Cursed from the Book of Magic. This palette has been in the running to be Pan That Palette for a few years now. I've decided that this year it's going to be my focus palette for Pan Those Eyeshadows because honestly, I just love it so much. You can tell with this shade, I've hit pan on it and then continued to use it. This pan is huge. Like, this is an amazing pan. Now, this is a matte. I'm normally really into like the duochrome, shimmery, shifty kind of shades. However, there are a few mattes in top 5, which I'm actually quite surprised about. Now, one of my little catchphrases on my channel is blue is my happy color. I love blue eyeshadow so much. If there's an opportunity for me to wear blue eyeshadow, I will wear it. I have got a slight blue wing today, like a bluey tealy duochrome. This is beautiful. I have a shade very similar in my Pan That palette right now, and I love these shades because if I ever do like a super boring neutral look, throw this as a wing, kind of what I'm doing today. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I love a deep blue pop. I love a deep blue liner. Blue I will throw with anything. And just like blue smoky eyes as well. Stop it right now. The fact that you can tell that I've kept using this for the longest amount of time, it just speaks wonders. It speaks to how good I love this shade. It is so pigmented. Like, the mattes in this palette are ridiculously good quality. I love the mattes in here, and I will keep using these until the end of my days. This shade Enchanted is currently in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. I'm loving it, and I just love this whole palette. So this shade is definitely number 4. I love it so much, and I just love this palette. It's a brilliant little palette. Next, number 3, this is again a matte, which I'm really shocked about, but once you see it, I don't think you'll be surprised. This is the shade Food Videos from the J-Star Conspiracy palette, and I love a pop of bright yellow in almost any look. I think it goes so well with any eyeshadow color that you can possibly think of. Blue, beautiful. Green, beautiful. Orange, beautiful. Neutral, beautiful. Pink, purple, just everything. This goes with everything. If I do a look and I think, I just need something more. I need something a little bit more. Pop this on either the inner corner, the lower lash line, do like a bright yellow wing. Oh my goodness me. I think yellow goes with any color story ever. Now, this does need a little bit of building up, but just a bright acid yellow. Yes. All these shades go so well together as well. That's so satisfying. I love doing like bright yellow liquid liner as well. Just like yellow is such a nice pop color. I obviously ignore my eye look today, but I normally don't do all yellow looks. I just use yellow more as a pop of color, especially because, as I said before, I love blue. Blue and yellow, just stop it right now. This also works really well as a last transition shade if I'm doing a very neutral look, but I want it to be a little bit, you know, a little bit something. I'm pretty sure this was a hand-chosen shade in Pan Those Eyeshadows, and honestly, like, I knew it would not take that long to hit pan on because it is stunning. It is so unique. It is so vibrant. It's like an highlighter on your eyes, like a pen, not a highlight, you know. I just think it's beautiful. I'm so glad I hit pan on it. I did depot my Conspiracy palette for obvious reasons, and this I just keep using. I don't use them too much because I don't like to showcase them because I don't support Jeffree Star, but this is just stunning. This had to be in top 5, otherwise I'd be a big fat liar. So yeah, I'm sure you've seen some pops of yellow over on my channel before. If not, you must be new. So in second place, this again goes with my blue love. This is the shade Blue Ice from the Odens Eye Christmas Eve palette. This again was in my Pan Those Eyeshadows quite a while ago now. And these shimmers in this palette are stunning. They are so piecey and so glistening and shimmery. It is exactly what I want in a shimmer. This shade, I hit pan on this, I think in like 1 or 2 months. It really was not long at all. And again, it's just that blue little fiend in me. Look how shimmery that is. That puts the Pastel Roses shade to shame. Like, look at that. It's not a duochrome, but it's just like a wet look blue shimmer. And I think it's gorgeous. I definitely need to use this with my Pan That palette this year. I do have 3 blue shades in my Pan That palette, and this is going to go so well with those shades. Just the like sparkly, like piecey shimmeriness of it. It is so beautiful, and I just love it so much. I think it is one of the best shimmers. Odens Eye shimmers are absolutely amazing. Anyway, these like piecey, sparkly ones, just top notch. They take the win every single time. I love this palette. I want to use it more, and the fact that I have a pan on it makes me really, really happy. So yeah, Blue Ice is number 2. So now let's move on to number 1. Now, number 1 was not difficult for me at all. Number 1 was actually the inspiration for this whole video. It is the one that I thought about straight away. And if you have watched my Pan Those Eyeshadows series last year, you may know and remember this. This is the shade Ecstasy from the Carnival XL Pro palette, and this is a bright chartreuse green. Now, when I rolled this in, I was a little bit apprehensive because greens aren't normally my thing. However, I thought, you know what? I'm going to accept the challenge, and I am so glad that I did. This is a shade that I treat very similarly to food videos, this like bright yellow. They are quite similar, as you can see there. I use this as a pop of colour, and I use this as like an interesting like inner corner or an interesting lower lash line. I did also do a full look with it in the crease, and I thought that was absolutely stunning as well. So this is a woman of many talents. Don't like the name. I'm very anti-drug, I should say that. But that's just my like prudy nature, I guess. But that is what that one looks like. You're definitely seeing a theme here. Yep, I'm predictable. What can I say? I was really nervous to wear this and to use this, but as soon as it rolled out of my Pan Those Eyeshadows, I was gutted. I was so upset because I love it so much. Again, using it with these blues, even using it with these red shades, with neutrals, it went amazingly. And honestly, I think I could finish this if I really put my mind to it, because I miss this so much. I loved some of the looks that I used this with. And I just love that like bright pop of color. Even with a neutral look, I just think it goes so well. It goes so well, especially in the summer. Like in the summer, this is coming out again. I guarantee you that. And I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Like even this look is kind of like bright and poppy. I think it's so cute. So especially this shade and this shade. Stunning, beautiful, gorgeous. So they are my top 5 best eyeshadow pans I've ever hit. Let's have a look at the color story again. Beautiful. So now let's spill some tea a little bit. We've celebrated, and now it's time to be stern. Let's talk about the 5 worst eyeshadows I've ever hit pan on. Okay, here we go. Let's bring the mood down a little bit. Let's spill some tea. Let's be a little bit catty. So number 5, the 5th worst eyeshadow I think I've ever hit pan on. This, to be fair, isn't horrific. It's just more annoying. This is the shade Cursed from the Colourpop Just My Look palette. This is like a deep khaki green, and this made me discover how horrific Colourpop mattes are to Project Pan, because this laughed in my face and bullied me for months. This is a really difficult shade to try and incorporate in different looks. It can obviously go with other greens, which is what I kind of used it for mainly. It did also go with like dirty oranges, if that makes sense, like sicky oranges. I'm describing it really nicely, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. It went with those really, really well. So I did go through a phase of just wearing like khaki, and that's all I could really do with it. It was really difficult to try and mix this with things. I tried to mix it with a few taupes, but it still looked a little bit weird, but I grit my teeth and I bared it. So, I rolled this out of a Pan Those Eyeshadows series without pan on it. I thought, you know what, I'm giving up. This is ridiculous. I've been panning this for months. I'm not enjoying it anymore. I'm going to roll it out. I've got a massive dip in it. I came back to it about a year later. It took me one use to hit pan on it. And for that reason alone, it's in this video. We have beef, and it's very annoying. It is so firmly pressed to the point where I never thought I would hit pan on this in a million years, but that is what it looks like. As you can see, it's not the worst shade in the world. You can kind of use it as a neutral-ish. If you really, really blend it and if you really, really make it work, you can definitely use it as almost like a deep brown, but it was just a lot. It was a lot. I'm sure you can imagine. This is almost like a cream. It's not, but it looks like a cream because it's so firmly pressed. It does not look like a powder whatsoever, and it mocked me. I think that's what my beef is with it. It was more that it was like one use after I'd given up on it, and it was suddenly like, yeah, go on then. You can have pan. It has to be number 5. It can't be any higher than 5 because at the end of the day, it is quite a nice colour. It was just more annoying than horrible. So number 5. There we go. There we go. Number 4. This is more of a neutral shade. We've not really had any neutrals apart from this guy here. But this next shade was in a Pan Those Eyeshadows series, and this is the shade Glistening from the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. Now, like I said before, I love my super intense indie duochrome shades. This is definitely not that. This is almost like a satin, really lackluster kind of shimmer, and I know that some people really, really like that. They like the more subtle satin kind of shimmer that doesn't really like do a lot. I'm not that girl. I tried to use this in my inner corner, but it is slightly too dark for that, so I just had to kind of grit and bear putting it on my lid, and as you can see, it's not very shimmery at all. It kind of goes with that khaki, actually. Look at that. It's just like one of those shades that I just kind of used to use. I almost used it as a base for other shimmers that I preferred more, and I don't like doing that because it's just a waste of product. Like, there's no point in putting it down as a base and then covering it up completely, but it's what I did to hit pan on it. It was definitely more of a hate panning journey. I wouldn't gladly reach for this on an everyday basis. Even when I'm doing a really, really neutral look, I still like to have a really intense shimmer on the lid, and this was not that girl. She's not that girl. She's not. She is very subtle. She's very natural. She's very neutral. I mean, this whole palette is, to be honest. I can still make a dramatic look with it. Like, I'll accept the challenge, but she's not going to be included. I like shimmer. I like in-your-face, ridiculously sparkly shades. She's not it. She's not it. So she is number 4 worst eyeshadows I've ever project panned. One good thing about this, it didn't take that long to pan because Anastasia is kind of notorious for very, very easy panning shades. So that is one good thing. So number 3 is actually a little bit of a surprise because it comes from a palette that we've already talked about in top 5. So this palette has one of my best and also one of my worst project panning experiences in it. So we're going back to actually Book of Magic, which I know some people are shocked at, and this is the shade Moonlight. It is the bright white shade. Now, this is one of the first palettes that Beauty Bay released, and they had super mushy shimmers. This shade is almost like a gelée, like cream. Like, I can push it in and it molds, and it's not nice. My eyes are naturally quite creasy, so having really malleable, wet shimmers, not great for my eyes. It doesn't really have that much payoff either. It's okay. I kind of used it as an inner corner to try and get pan on it, but even that, because it's so dense, it's really hard to pick up with a brush because it's just like mushy. Does that make sense? It's really strange. I could use this as like a topper, maybe like a shimmery white toppery shade. I've never really done that before, but I really don't like this shade. I always remember just not liking it. It has got a pan in it. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see because it is the same colour as the product, so it might be a little bit difficult. But kind of same with this shade Potion as well. This is also a very mushy formula. This shade Spell is, this shade Crystal is, and this shade Stardust is as well. I just don't like those formulas, and they have moved away from that formula now with their newer releases, but with their older palettes, they really loved this like mushy, cream, creasy kind of formula, and honestly, it's not for me. It's not for me. Good luck picking this up with a brush. Good luck. This is definitely a finger shade, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. This palette I love for the mattes. The shimmers are okay, but yeah, the shimmers, some of them really disappointing. So I'm shocked that this palette is in this video in the bottom part because I do love this palette, but it's just that shade, that mushy. If you have this palette or if you use this palette, let me know if you know what I'm talking about, because I feel like I'm chatting absolute nonsense right now because I don't know how to describe it more than that. It's just bad. It's not good. So yeah, that is number 3 worst eyeshadows I've ever hit pan on. So now we're moving on to the real nitty gritty. We're moving on to, ooh, these shades are not good. So in number 2, this was a project that I actually had to stop doing because I didn't want to do it anymore. So number 2 spot goes to the pinks in my Bella Pierre All Stars palette. Now these two I'm kind of counting as one because I use them together and I hit pan on them together. These were not my cup of tea. I am not a pink girl. I don't like pink eyeshadow. And by this point in the project, I was just done with this palette. I can't even lie. So I think it's more this shade than this shade. It is both, to be honest. It really is. These are like joint. I just don't like them. Here they are. This was from Pan That Palette in order, and I have beef with this project. I've just kind of swatched them on the same row because they are kind of one. Does that make sense? You know what I mean. So this was my Pan That Palette in order, and I was going to go through every single shade one at a time and hit pan on them. I thought it'd be a really, really easy project. I thought it'd be really chill. But when I got to around like here, I was really starting to be like, this is really annoying. I don't like this anymore. I'd worked on so many neutrals and then I had to grit my teeth and get through these pinks. Pink is my least favorite shade to wear. I don't like it. I don't like it. So then having these pinks after suffering through these neutrals for so long made me want to cry. And as you can see, I didn't end up doing this project much longer after I hit pan on those because I just lost my motivation completely. I think it was in this pink section where the motivation left. She's left the chat. She's gone. This killed Pan That Palette in order. I'm not even gonna lie. These two shades, no. I normally use this all over the lid and then use this purple just to blend out the outer corner because I really didn't want to do a look with this purple. I just don't like it at all. These super warm tone purple shades, give me anything else because I really don't like them. No, thank you. No, thank you. I genuinely would never wear these shades if it wasn't for like project panning, and I think because I forced myself to hit pan on these, it was the doom of this project. So I'm so happy to put this down. I'm not missing Pan That Palette in order. I know some people really are missing Pan That Palette in order. I'm honestly not. I'm sorry to say, I really don't miss it. These two, absolutely not. So what is worse than that? What is worse? I have one shade that I've hit pan on that is worse than that. And remember when we spoke about the Sofex Revolution palette? Well, this is the shade Peaches from the Sofex Revolution palette. This has been depotted because when I decided to start that project up again at the start of 2024, I did depot everything just to make everything look a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer for that fresh start. So pinks, again, No, don't like them at all. I tried to use this as an eyeshadow, couldn't do it. I had to use this as a blush, and that's how I hit pan on it, as a blush. So the fact that I can't even use this as an eyeshadow kind of says everything that you need to know. This is what that shade looks like. A little bit of a wonky swatch there, but that's okay. I can't deal with this shade. It's like, it's warm toned, which I don't like anyway, and it's pink. 2 in 1, and it's matte. Would rather have a shimmer any day. 3 for 3. I really do not like this. This was so close to being decluttered in my latest declutter series. The only reason I've kept it is for BYOP purposes. If I need one of these kind of shades to dupe a palette or something like that, then I would use it then. I would not use this on my eyes again. I highly, highly doubt it. As a blush, it's fine, but the fact that I had to like grit my teeth and double use it as a blush in order to hit pan on it literally says everything. It literally screams how much I really did not want to use this. Like, I thought these two were bad. This one, no. I think one of the reasons why it is number 1 as well is because of just the emotion that I have for the Sofx Revolution palette. I made myself pan that for way, way longer than I should have, and I think that also projects into this. Is it the fault of this shade? No. Does it have some responsibility? Yes. But it is not like awful. It's not awful, but I hold a grudge because it was part of the Sofx Revolution palette, and I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. So this is proudly number 1 worst eyeshadow I've ever hit pan on. I feel like there's definitely a theme between these two. This is like bright, colourful, like electric, and then this is kind of like a bit more neutral, pink leaning. Yeah, you can definitely tell my makeup aesthetic from these two swatches. But let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what is the worst eyeshadow you've ever hit pan on. I'm sure I'll figure out like more horrific things that I've hit pan on in a few weeks when I go about my day-to-day. But for now, I'm pretty happy with these choices. These are pretty good. I'm really happy, and it was really nice to walk down memory lane again and to talk about some good, bad and ugly. But this is it for today, guys. This is where I'm gonna love you and leave you. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, you know the drill. Definitely like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for a brand new video. Bye bye.